All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're talking about one of the most practical tools in your entire Salesforce dev toolkit, Lightning Web Components base components. Seriously, think of this as your secret weapon for building awesome, functional UIs way faster than you ever thought possible. You've been there, right? You're staring at a blank screen. You know you need a button, an input field, maybe a whole data grid. And you have that sinking feeling that you have to build, style, and test every single little piece. It's so repetitive, it's slow, and honestly, it keeps you from the fun stuff, the complex logic that actually matters. Well, what if I told you there's a shortcut? A way to just skip all that grunt work and get right to assembling a pro-level UI. That is exactly what Lightning-based components are for. So what are they, really? Put simply, they're ready-made UI building blocks, crafted by Salesforce itself. Salesforce handles all the tricky parts. You know, the styling, making sure it works on mobile, and all those crucial accessibility standards. You just grab the component you need and drop it onto the page. That's it. I love thinking of it like a giant box of Lego bricks for building your UI. You've got everything from the simple stuff like your Lightning input and Lightning button to bigger structures like Lightning layout for organizing your page, and of course, the incredibly powerful Lightning datatable. And the best part? It's all right there, out of the box. Okay, so let's start with the basics. I want to show you just how easy this really is. We'll look at a few of the most common bricks you'll find yourself using in almost every single component you build. First up, the good old input field. I mean, it's the foundation for capturing pretty much any kind of user data. And with base components, making one is ridiculously simple. And here's where the magic really starts. See how the HTML and JavaScript work together here? The onChange attribute in the HTML, it's wired directly to a handleChange function in your JavaScript. So when a user types in that field, bam, that function fires, grabs the new value, and updates your name property. It's totally seamless data binding with just 2 lines of code. Next up, every app needs a way for users to make things happen, right? For that, we've got the Lightning button. Now, making a button is easy, but styling it is even easier. Check out that variant attribute. You can just change this word to brand for your main button, success for a confirmation, or maybe destructive for a delete button. You instantly change its whole look and feel to match what it does, and you didn't have to write a single line of CSS. So cool.
Need a drop-down menu? A pick list? The lightning-comboboX is your go-to for any kind of selection list.
And this just shows how dynamic these things are. You can see the options attribute in the HTML is just bound to an array of objects in your JavaScript. That means you can easily fill your dropdown with data you pull from Apex or just define it right there in your code. It makes your UI super flexible. Okay, so we've seen the simple bricks. Now let's talk about the master build. The component you will use in almost every single real-world Salesforce project you ever touch, the Lightning datatable. And I'm not exaggerating when I say this thing is a total game changer. If you need to show a list of records, accounts, contacts, whatever, this is the tool. Mastering this is absolutely essential. So why is it so powerful? Because it comes packed with features that would take you weeks to build yourself. We're talking built-in sorting, totally customizable columns, inline editing, and row-level actions, all for free. So let's break down how this works. It's really just 3 core parts. First, in your JavaScript, you define your columns in a constant. This just tells the table what headers to show. Second, you use the @wires service to go get your data from Apex. And third, you just plug those 2 things into the Lightning datatable tag in your HTML. That's it. The component does all the heavy lifting. A basic table is great, but let's make it interactive. Let's make it professional. We're going to add one of the most common things you'll ever need, a little button on each row to perform an action. You have to see how simple this is. Look at the before and after of our column definition. To add a view button to every single row, all you do is add this one little object to your column's constant. You just tell it to type as button and give it a label. The data table handles the rest. Okay, so making that button actually do something is just a simple 3-step recipe. We already did step 1. Now, we just add a handler to our HTML tag and then write the function for it in our JavaScript. The real magic here is the on-row action handler. When a user clicks one of those buttons, it fires an event. Your JavaScript function catches it, and check this out. Inside event.detail.row, you get the complete data for the specific row that was clicked. This makes it so easy to know exactly which record the user wants to work with. Okay, you now have the power to build some really complex, data-rich UIs. But, with great power comes great responsibility. So let's wrap up with 3 simple rules to make sure your data tables are stable, organized, and running fast.
First, always set the key field to a unique ID, usually just the record ID. This helps LWC work its magic behind the scenes and is a huge deal for performance. Second, keeping your columns in a separate constant just makes your code way cleaner and easier to deal with later. And third, always use the built-in on-row action handler for buttons in your table. It's designed for exactly this, so just trust it.
So we've covered a lot, from simple inputs to powerful, interactive data tables. You now have all the fundamental building blocks you need to assemble almost any UI in Salesforce. The only question left is, what amazing thing are you going to build first?